Abdul, didn't you supposed to pay for the first?
Nah, man, it's flat. I don't even want this, man. I'm gonna put it back.
You're supposed to pay for the
No,
first.
I ain't supposed to pay for it first. I gotta taste this, man. This stuff be outdated. I gotta taste it.
Yeah, that's bad, bro.
Nah.
Come on, you gotta pay for it, man.
No, brother, don't do that, brother.
Look.
Don't do that.
No,
Don't
bro.
do that.
Look what he did.
Brother, don't do that. Don't do that to me, brother. Don't do that.
All right,
Come to America and sell people flat shit. Don't do that, man. That's fucked up.
Oh, man. Hold up. Hold the fuck up, bro. This nigga in the liquor store, man, taking swigs off of the pop and then putting that shit back, talking about so he got to taste it first, and then he put the shit back, talking about it was flat, bro. Hey, when you buying your shit from the store, gas station, liquor store, 7-Eleven, Speedway, make sure that goddamn seal ain't cracked, man. Somebody might have taste tested your shit, and now you out here, like, taking sloppy seconds from a nigga you ain't even know, man. You don't know where they might have been, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, man, shout out to my man Al who sent me that shit on Instagram. But yo, man, what's going on with y'all? This is episode 341 of the Spann Report podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann. And yo, man, I did not plan on doing this episode. Real talk. I actually plan on doing a beer and chicken this week. Y'all know what we talked about a couple weeks ago. I was like, yo, man, what we gonna do is we're gonna do the Spann Report on alternating weeks. We're gonna do the beer and chicken, and then we're gonna have highly inappropriate coming through doing, you know, with our sister Cook doing her thing. And you know, we're gonna rock out with it like that. But yeah, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. As a matter of fact, shout out to my man Cliff. Cliff's on vacation, man. That nigga's in Memphis or something, like doing the 4th of July festivities and shit. Get that shit started early. So we ain't gonna be able to do a beer and chicken this week. Maybe we'll be able to cop, you know, to a beer and chicken next week or something like that. But also, there's a lot of shit that's been going on, man. A lot of things have been going on, and I kind of felt like I needed to speak to him. You know, I have some opinions about some of this shit, and I just kind of want to get them off my chest, so I'm going to do that. But before we get into everything show-related, of course, I got to let you guys know how to get in touch with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast and let your voice be heard. You can go ahead and hit up that hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages. Of course, those messages get read here live on the show, and played here live on the show, and responded to in kind. And if you're watching us live here on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch, you can chop it up with your man Spann while we doing the show, man. So area code 313-288-0485. You can also email us here at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Go ahead, leave those emails, and of course those emails to get right here and reply to here live on the show as well. Follow me here on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So you can go ahead, follow me there, chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and or Stitcher Radio. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the minutes of doing that. Doesn't cost you a dime. Just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network. And you can go to our website, www.thespannreport.com. Go there, watch replays of the show. Donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like. And, of course, we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network. And also shout out to our Patreon patrons who allow for us to do this show here live on YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, and Facebook. So, yeah, man, we appreciate everybody who goes about the business to support that way. And also, you can go to our store, cop yourself some merch, get yourself some Spann Report-related, you know, swag, man. Get yourself a coffee cup or a sports bottle or like a hoodie or a t-shirt because it's hot outside. We don't really need no hoodies and shit, right? So, yeah, man, go ahead and cop yourself some merch, and that also helps us continue to do this show and keep the ball rolling, man, real talk. But, yo, man, whole lot of shit going on, man. I don't have any real random thoughts and shit, man. Like I said, I didn't really plan on doing this show, but there was like, you know, I had some things I wanted to say and shit. So like, you know what better way to just kind of get everything I want to say out as opposed to arguing with you niggas on social media and like nuance being lost to all be damned. So I can get on the mic and just say what the fuck it is I feel like I need to say. But yo, let's go right into the motherfucking news, y'all. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So our first story here in the news, man, I'm sure all of y'all know exactly where the fuck we going with this. That has to do with the fact that, one Bill Cosby has been released from prison after the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania overturned his conviction. Yeah, man, we get the story here. This comes out of yahoonews.com. It says Bill Cosby is a free man despite 60 women credibly accusing the once beloved actor of sexual assault. News of Cosby's 2018 conviction being overturned sent shockwaves across social media on Wednesday, with many stars decrying the miscarriage of justice. However, the comedian's comedy show Cosby Show co-star Felicia Rashad was not one of those people as she celebrated the news. Actress and Time's Up co-founder Amber Tamblyn said she was furious over the ruling, alleging she knows women who the man drugged and raped while unconscious. Now, here's the thing about Felicia Rashad coming out and making that statement on Twitter. She basically just came out and said that this was a miscarriage of justice. She's celebrating the fact that that dude came home. And all I know is when her fucking publicist got word, I'm sure Felicia Rashad's got a publicist or whatever else, but when they got word that Felicia Rashad was out here on the Twitter streets unmotherfucking unsupervised and shit, and they seen what she tweeted, I'm sure they were just like, niggas coming, because niggas was all over Felicia Rashad, man. Niggas was all over Felicia Rashad. Felicia Rashad, I believe she's now the dean of the I believe Howard University has just named a fine arts school after Chadwick Boseman. You know, Chadwick Boseman, talented actor who passed away way too fucking soon last year. They named a school after him, and they named her dean of students at that school, right? And, people are, off top with Felicia Rashad, I just kind of feel people were more so disappointed, but it's almost as if they had kind of forgotten that Felicia Rashad has always been on some shit where she was defending Bill Cosby, right? Felicia Rashad, I remember around 2015, 2016, whenever this shit was going on, when it was really, really big time news, she was the one telling everybody to forget these women. You know what I'm saying? Forget these women. She believed that this is a legacy that's being tarnished or being torn down, and they're getting what they want to keep Bill Cosby off TV. And the thing that never really makes sense to me when people come up with these fucking arguments is why would they want Bill Cosby off of TV, right? Think about this for a minute. Bill Cosby was probably one of the most beloved motherfucking figures in the United States of America. Bill Cosby had one of the longest running, most successful television shows in the history of television. What would it benefit them to yo, we need to get rid of this nigga, right? He had the most wholesome image. And then, we find out later that behind this wholesome image, he had all this other shit going on. And it was an open secret within the industry, right? So the fact that Felicia Rashad came out to say these things was kind of a slap in the face of not only victims of sexual assault, but also a lot of black women who felt they were victims of sexual assault. And here was this black woman coming out and saying yo, fuck all that. I don't care. He didn't do that to me. Right. So here's the other thing too. Right. And I've got friends, man. And I got friends on both sides of the spectrum, whether you are a supporter of Bill Cosby, whether you are a detractor of Bill Cosby, you don't necessarily condone what the fuck Bill Cosby did, right? One of the things that a few friends of mine have kind of noted was that we all know people who have done terrible things or have been accused of terrible things, and yet despite the terrible things that we have known, or they're known for, or have been accused to have been, or have been accused to have done, that we still have love for them, and that we still you can separate that love for them outside of what they have been accused of doing or what they may have been even convicted of doing, right? And I can see the nuance in that, right? I've got an uncle who is a convicted murderer, right? I was around 11, 12 years old when he did what he did, right? There was no bones about it. My uncle killed that man, right? And outside of the fact that my uncle is a convicted murderer, I got love for my uncle because of the love that he's shown me over the course of my life, right? I got love for him, but I don't love what the fuck he did. And I also can recognize that, the family of the person whose life was ended at the hands of my uncle may not necessarily be excited about the fact that 20 some odd years later, my uncle was released from prison. They might not be I'm sure they probably aren't happy about that, right? But I think it also has something to do with the fact that my status isn't a front-facing status where I'm responsible for the life and the safety of a whole other group of people, right? And I think we have to kind of recognize that, like, yeah, we all know someone and probably love someone who's done or has been accused of doing some real terrible shit, right? But that doesn't mean that we condone what they've done. And also, like, I don't know necessarily how I feel about maybe throwing it up into the faces of the people who may be victims of said crimes, right? To say, forget these women. And then, like, on top of that, like I said, Felicia Rashad is now the Dean of Students at the School of Fine Arts at Howard University. How many young ladies at the Howard University right now are having mixed feelings about whether or not they should report they have had something happen to them of a sexual assault manner on Howard University's campus, and they got to go talk to Dean Rashad about what happened to them, especially when Dean Rashad is out here publicly celebrating a man who's been accused of sexually assaulting 60 to 70 women, right? So you got that aspect of it going on, right? The other thing about this is that, like, I saw, like, people celebrating this as though, like, Bill Cosby should have never been locked up, man. He, they should have never locked that man up. This was some bullshit. It was some bullshit from the jump. And you still got niggas who believe he was trying to buy NBC, which never really made sense to me. Like, y'all, you don't have to sell this. Like, NBC never had to sell to Bill Cosby, man. It's like me deciding, like, you want to buy my car and I say no, and then I accuse you of bank robbery. Like, that's just stupid. It doesn't really make much sense at all, right? But you got a lot of people who just believe that, like, there was some sort of concerted effort or conspiracy to take down Bill Cosby. My thing is this. Bill Cosby has admitted to sexual assault, right? He admitted to this. He admitted to the sexual assault while under oath during a civil civil deposition, right? This is so that he can give so they can somehow get some sort of monetary compensation to the victims of his sexual assault. He wasn't going to be charged criminally because he came up with a deal. Well, not he, but the prosecutors at the time came up with a deal where they wouldn't prosecute him criminally, but he'd have to testify under oath in a civil matter, so that the people whom he, victimized, they would probably get some level of compensation. The only level of justice that they may get is some level of monetary compensation, right? So Bill Cosby goes into this deposition and he admits to a lot of crimes, right? He admits to, like, giving women drugs and doing things to them while they were unconscious or not able to consent and things of that nature. And so when he's speaking freely, in a sense, because he feels like, okay, all I'm coming out of is a bit of bread, right? All they get out of me is a little bit of money. I can part with the money. I don't know if I want to do jail time, but I could part with the money, right? So he goes and he does his deposition. He says he admits to a lot of sexual crimes because he's talking as though I'm not going to jail for this shit, right? Which brings us to what happened earlier this week. Bill Cosby is released from prison because of that prior arrangement that he had with the prosecutor before the prosecutor who actually pursued these charges made an agreement with him, supposedly, because they don't even have the shit written down, but that he made an agreement with the prosecutor, and the prosecutor told him he couldn't be charged, and therefore the Supreme Court threw his conviction out because he was never supposed to be prosecuted for the charges in the first place because of said agreement. And so Cosby hasn't been exonerated. It doesn't say that Cosby didn't actually commit the acts that he admitted to in this deposition. Is essentially saying, like, okay, as a result of the agreement that he came up with that prior prosecutor, he shouldn't have been put on trial in the first place. Therefore, we're going to throw out that conviction and he's free to go home. Bill Cosby is out based on a fucking legal technicality, right? A legal technicality. Now, the disheartening thing about this to me, right, is the message that it sends to, especially like the celebration of this, because I've seen a lot of people like kind of celebrating this and being happy and like almost want like rubbing it in folks' faces that Bill Cosby is home and things like that. Like, yo, if Bill Cosby is having and I'm gonna talk about this here in a minute, but like if Bill Cosby is having a concert, like I'm going to the concert, I'm going to the shows and like all these other things, right? And it's as if the testimony, it's as if people don't even want to believe Bill Cosby's own words, right? Bill Cosby is now saying I ain't guilty of the things that they're accusing me of doing, but they convicted you based on partly because of the things that you said that you did, right? There's that old saying by Maya Angelou, like, when people tell you who they are, believe them. Bill Cosby told you exactly who he was. And somehow, some way, some of y'all have chosen not to believe him. Right? The other part about it is this, man. There's a level of intellectual inconsistency with a lot of people. Right? And it boils down to essentially who you like and who you don't. The people we like, we will believe the worst in them. And we will cut them no quarter. We will give them no inch. We will give them nothing. The people that we don't like, oh, nigga, they I mean, like, the people we like, we give them all the room in the world to kind of be a fuck up, right? We'll come up with all sorts of excuses as to why what they did was okay, or why what they did or is accused of doing can be explained away somewhat, right? We make room like that for those folks, the people that we like. The ones that we don't make that sort of room. And so, like, what I've been seeing, like, across my social media has been a lot of motherfucking intellectual inconsistencies, man. Because now I'm seeing people saying, well, you can't call him a convicted rapist because his conviction was thrown out, so he ain't a rapist at all. And I'm thinking, well, shit, it's a lot of you motherfuckers who believe that George Zimmerman is a murderer. Yeah, George Zimmerman wasn't convicted of anything. As a matter of fact, a court of law found George Zimmerman innocent. They exonerated that dude in the court of law. But how many of you are going to give George Zimmerman that level of room, that level of fucking autonomy? Like, how many of y'all are going to greet George Zimmerman with the same fucking openness that y'all are giving Bill Cosby right now? It's because you like Bill Cosby and you hate fucking George Zimmerman. Right? You are becoming the very thing that you hate. There's no intellectual consistency there. There's no principle consistency there. And it always happens when it comes to the people we like. When we like somebody, we will make all the excuses in the world for them. Right? So Bill Cosby, man, like, he gets out of jail and, he's still talking about, I've always maintained my innocence. Like, dude, you never maintained your innocence. You did so as far as his trial was concerned, but you admitted on under oath what you did to these women. You admitted to this shit. So, there's that thing. The other part about this is like the outside discussion that you have with people that you know, right? And I was having a discussion with some dudes, and like one of the guys I know, like, he already knows I'm not necessarily a fan of Cosby, especially since this, this whole rape thing came up. And, one of the things I always find interesting is like the ways in which when we try to defend someone, we try to commonize what Bill Cosby or the people that we like, we try to commonize the things that they did so that, what they did no longer seems bad, right? We try to make it common, right? So a friend of mine, he came to me, he said, well, Spann, I'm sure that you don't know the ages of every woman you've been with when you was with them. I'm like, wait, what? Right? Like, yeah, you don't know the age of every woman you've been with, man. She could have been lying to you. She could have been doing this, that, and other, because these bitches be lying. And I'm just like, okay, even if that were true, even if I was to grant you that, even if that were true, that would mean that I didn't know, wasn't privy to this information, and I had no clue. I wasn't actively trying to pursue a criminal act, right? I may have been committing a criminal act unbeknownst to me. Right? If that's the logic you're gonna go with. Unbeknownst to me, I'm committing a criminal act, even though I don't fucking know it. Totally different from giving someone a substance to incapacitate them so that they can't consent, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want with them. Totally different. But what happens is you got a lot of dudes who will try to commonize this shit because they are also guilty of some of these things, man. Like, I remember back when when this Cosby thing was like really big, I had homies that I know who was talking about some, yo, man, you ain't never gave a bitch a drink, man. You ain't never gave a chick a drink or nothing like that. I'm like, yeah, I've given her a drink, but I ain't never slipped nothing in it. I ain't never tried to take her choice away from her. I ain't never said like, yo, man, you like, knock her out and like try to take it. None of that. But these are the things dudes have to tell themselves to rationalize this, right? to rationalize it in their own head. Because here's the thing, when it came to Bill Cosby, a lot of this was like a lot of dudes were defending themselves. Bill Cosby was a proxy to the defenses they were having for themselves. If Bill Cosby can be accused of rape and convicted of rape, then what does that make me? That's what a lot of those defenses were, right? So it's been real interesting to like kind of listen and watch how people have responded to Bill Cosby being released from prison, right? Now, I'm going to just say this here. The fact that Bill Cosby had a prior agreement with the prosecutors that stipulated that he couldn't be prosecuted for said crimes is why Bill Cosby is out of jail. That doesn't mean that Bill Cosby didn't do the things that Bill Cosby has been accused of doing. He had been convicted. Like, you know, you've had a jury of his peers convict him. And it's real weird, man, like to find people who don't really believe in the system somehow believing in the system today. You know? And here's the other part that's like I find real fucking weird. Like suddenly some like you're gonna have some white folks, right? Who are gonna be asking, but what about Harvey Weinstein? Right? Or better yet, no. I'm sorry. Let me flip that. What about Bill Cosby? You know how, like back in the day, like when this whole Bill Cosby shit came up, suddenly we were throwing up every white man's name who had been accused of some sort of sexual impropriety with a woman. We were throwing all of their fucking names up to try to justify why Bill Cosby shouldn't be prosecuted for what the fuck he was accused of doing. This is that lack of intellectual consistency that I'm talking about. This is that lack right there. It's like, because if you're listening to me, if you've listened to the Spann Report for any length of time, not once have I made an excuse or haven't talked about, because I was accused of that shit too, having not talked about Harvey Weinstein or Roman Polanski or Elvis Presley or like Hugh Hefner and all these other names that brothers like to kind of throw up to say like, yo, they ain't never come after them. Meanwhile, like I said, like Roman Polanski was on the run from the motherfucking United States to never come back here. Harvey Weinstein is fucking locked up. He's in prison right now. They went out ahead and got it. You're going to have a whole lot of Harvey Weinstein supporters saying like, yo, but what about Bill Cosby? That motherfucker's home right now. Right? It's interesting how shit flips around. And it's always interesting how when we like someone, how we make room for some of the worst shit in them. How we make room for that. You got a lot of folks who believe that Bill Cosby raised them, and that's why they raised some of these defenses of Bill Cosby. And the weird part about it is like a lot of the guys that I know who are defending Bill Cosby wouldn't piss on y'all if y'all were on fire. Let's just keep that 100%. Bill Cosby doesn't give a fuck about a lot of y'all. In much the same way that O.J. Simpson did give a fuck about a whole bunch of black folks until he got in trouble. Then suddenly O.J. Simpson was as black as the day is long. Right? I want y'all to stop falling for the okie doke, man. Like, there's this thing where we feel as though we have to have some sort of like racial solidarity, some sort of racial allegiance to these people when they don't fuck with us. They don't fuck with us in that way. They really don't. Bill Cosby has not only just like a respectability politics sort of a mindset, but it was also like a respectability politics steeped in fucking hypocrisy. You can't talk about somebody being a criminal, right? Engaging in criminal activity and admonish them for that. Meanwhile, you're out here knocking women out while you're raping them. A respectability politics steeped in hypocrisy is crazy to me. So yeah, man. Bill Cosby released from prison. And unfortunately, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of folks out here celebrating this as though like a miscarriage of justice has been corrected or some shit. Like no. As a matter of fact, I believe it's the reverse. And I feel sorry for any woman who's got to watch the men in their lives, or better yet, even the women in their lives too, who are celebrating the fact that Bill Cosby got released. And they may have been a victim of sexual assault. And they have yet to reveal that to anybody close to them. And these are the things that kind of keep them from doing so. Right? Be mindful of the people you may be sending an unintentional message to. Right? Your sister, your mom, your aunt, whomever may have been a victim of a sexual assault and they never revealed that to you. Chances are they probably won't now, because of the way you reacted and the way you've talked about women, sexual assault, and how it relates to, what's going on with Cosby and everything else. Like, be mindful of that. So yeah, man, that's in the news. Bill Cosby got released after 3 years, man. That's crazy. Another story that we got here in the news, man, is so we've got a lottery here in Michigan. Now, it's not just a state lottery that you go ahead, buy yourself a ticket and hope you're going to win, get, Mega Millions or the Powerball or anything like that. But, we got a COVID lottery here. It's a COVID lottery. It's a COVID sweepstakes going on here in Michigan. And, here in Michigan, if you got your shots here in Michigan, you got a chance to win up to $2 million.
And I'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
Yes, indeed, man. We get this story here. This comes out of clickondetroit.com. It says Governor Gretchen Whitmer broke down the details of Michigan's new COVID vaccine sweepstakes, including who can enter, how to sign up, what prizes are available, and more. This is going to be a chance for Michiganders to get registered and to be eligible to win, eligible for $5 million in cash prizes and college scholarships. The governor said the sweepstakes will be a great tool in our arsenal to fight COVID. Now, as of Thursday, 62.4% of Michiganders ages 16 and up have received at least one dose of the COVID vaccine. Whitmer said that's nearly 5 million people. Michigan's vaccination goal has always been to get to 70% of residents 16 and up vaccinated. With the sweepstakes, we hope to increase our rate by that of 9%, roughly 700,000 more Michiganders, so that we can get to that 70% rate. Michigan residents who have received at least one dose of the COVID vaccine between December 1st, 2020 and July 10th, 2021 can enter. They are eligible for the cash prizes. Even if you already had one or both your shots, you can register to enter now. So your boy registered, right? I mean, your boy went on ahead. I was like, yo, man, they doing what? They doing, like, they giving what out now? They giving what? Nigga, can you imagine? Not only do I have the chance to beat COVID, but y'all gonna pay me for the opportunity to do so? Nigga, where do I sign up, bruh? Now they got like I think the jackpot prize is $2 million. I could think of a few things to do with $2 million, man. I mean, I could pay off my student loans, pay off my wife's student loans. I could pay my house off. I could pay off all my motherfucking debts. Now I don't know if I don't think I'll be able to retire, but I have a nice little nest egg, you know what I'm saying, and be debt free. $2 million? Yeah, I could do that. You know what I'm saying? Then they got like a $1 million prize and shit. I could fuck with the $1 million prize too, nigga. They even got $50,000. They got 30 days of $50,000 prizes, bro. You know what I could do with $50,000? I could do a whole lot with $50,000, man. I could use that bread. And on top of that, not get COVID? How can you lose, bro? How can you lose? So essentially, this boils down to, man, not enough people, especially like I know the Detroit area has been lagging as far as COVID-19 vaccinations has been concerned. And the weird part about it and the weird juxtaposition of this is that like earlier on when we were in the throes of in the pandemic, right when the vaccines were being made available, I can remember when they were really focusing on getting older senior citizen Detroit residents the COVID vaccine, and other parts of the state were upset that the state was like making the vaccines available for Detroit because Detroit was the hardest hit in the entire state, right? And the attitude of Detroit was these racist motherfuckers. They don't want us to get this treatment, and now they coming to get these vaccines because they don't want us to get these vaccines because they always want they want us dead, right? Now the flip side to that is, niggas in Detroit don't even want the vaccines. And the niggas on the outside, like in the outskirts, don't really want it either. So we pretty much, what's happened is this, right? We've pretty much got everybody who wants to get the vaccine. They go ahead and getting it. We got the stubborn few who are like, kind of going through like their denial period, maybe, who are going through their research, quote unquote, periods, maybe. You got folks who are waiting for the full-throated FDA recommendation or approval or whatever else. Although it's, again, after millions of vaccines have been administered, man. At this point, it's like, man, it's people will move the goalposts where they need to in order to feel safe or however they feel safe. But if this is what it takes to get Michigan to some level of herd immunity, I'm all fucking for it, man. And like I said, the opportunity to win 2, 1, $50,000, like $2 million, $1 million, $50,000. Yo, man, sign your boy up. And I mean, I already did, but I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Now, the other thing about this that folks need to understand is that, like, yo, you are not automatically signed up just because you got a COVID shot, right? You do have to go on their website and register. So I'm going to go back to this website where they talk about it. But it says who can enter. Michigan residents who have received at least one dose of the vaccine. I already read that part. Even if you've already had one of both of your shots, you can register to enter now. Children ages 12 to 17 who have been vaccinated are also eligible, but those winners will receive prizes in the form of scholarships, according to the governor. A parent or guardian will have to help them register, but they are still eligible to win. Employees or independent contractors with the store Meyer, who's helping to administer this sweepstakes, are not eligible to enter into this sweepstakes. But yo, man, it's one more tool to get people to kind of get their vaccinations, man. I know the misinformation and the disinformation campaigns are real strong, man. I see it on my social medias all the time. I'm talking to folks every day, people that I know who are vaccine hesitant, and they have their reasons. Most of it is based on some shit that they saw on social media, man. But I hope that the opportunity to better your financial situation could be an incentive to help folks, just kind of get over that hump and get their vaccination shots, man. Because, as much as we want to get back to normalcy, and while I'm saying get back to normalcy, like, yo, we pretty much lifted all fucking restrictions. So I guess everything's back to normal anyway, despite the fact that we haven't reached herd immunity because Americans are some spoiled bunch of motherfuckers. But, yo, man, I just don't want to lose it. I don't think we should be losing anybody that we shouldn't have to lose, right? I don't think we should be getting sick on some things we don't have to be getting sick by. I would hate for somebody that I know or anybody that you know to lose their life on some shit that they could have prevented. And that's just me. But, that's what it is. But that's in the news. Another story that we got here in the news is, man, Donald Trump, his company has been indicted by the goddamn federal government, yo.
Ho, brother. Whoa. Now, you got too much dip on your chip.
Yeah, man. Donald Trump's namesake company. I'm sorry, but we get the story here out of Reuters. But his company and the CFO, the chief financial officer, plead not guilty to tax fraud. It says Donald Trump's namesake company and longtime financial chief officer pleaded not guilty on Thursday to criminal charges in a sweeping indictment from a probe by Manhattan District Attorney into the former U.S. president and his business practices. The Trump Organization and his chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, were charged with having schemed since 2005 to defraud tax authorities through the awarding of off-the-books benefits to company executives. Weisselberg, who has worked for Trump for 48 years, is able to conceal $1.76 million of income from tax authorities, including rent for a Manhattan apartment, tuition, auto lease payments, according to prosecutors. The 15-count indictment included charges of tax fraud and falsifying business records. Okay, I'm going to just say this here right now. I don't think that this is the smoking gun that a whole bunch of folks were hoping it would be. I really don't. I don't think this results in Donald Trump being put in shackles, being put the bracelets on. I don't think they're gonna put bracelets on Donald Trump anytime soon as a result of this. I think this is one thing to kind of keep the cycle going. Maybe they work this up into something else or some bigger indictments or whatever else. But honestly, I don't think we're gonna really see a whole hell of a lot of movement on this. Unless, of course, they're like leaning on somebody to get somebody to flip to say, some more substantial things have happened. But, yo, man, Donald Trump's company has been indicted. Not Donald Trump. It's for tax evasion. One thing I will say is that they got Al Capone for the tax evasion. They didn't get him from all the racketeering and the mobbing and the killing and shit. They got him for the tax evasion. So maybe that's what's going to happen with Donald Trump. But, yo, that's been the news. All right, but y'all know what time it is.
What in blue blazes is going on out here?
Did this nigga just say blue blazes?
All right, our story here in Blue Blazes, our first story here in Blue Blazes has to do with one Sha'Carri Richardson. Yeah, man, this is another thing that kind of blew up on social media today and over the course of the last couple of days. But Sha'Carri Richardson, the sprinter, Olympic sprinter. She qualified for the Olympics with her amazing run in the 100-meter race. She was slated to be the favorite in the Olympics in this event. She was suspended by I believe it's the U.S. Track and Field Association for having tested positive for marijuana. Yeah. We read the story here. This comes out of yahoonews.com. It says that Sha'Carri Richardson, the 21-year-old sprinter expected to star at the upcoming Tokyo Olympics, has been suspended and barred from running her signature race in Tokyo after testing positive for marijuana. The drug has been decriminalized in most U.S. states, including in Oregon, where Richardson positive tests occurred. Many athletes use it for reasons both medicinal and recreational. The NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL no longer suspend players for it, and yet all natural and synthetic cannabinoids, including marijuana, remain prohibited by the World Anti-Doping Agency, or WADA, the International Olympic Committee affiliated body that regulates drug use in global sport. WADA deems THC, the primary psychoactive compound of marijuana, a substance of abuse, on its 2021 prohibited list. All cannabis-based products except for cannabidiol or CBD are banned and in competition. That means if THC is found in an athlete's system on the day of an event, that athlete is subject to punishment. Because Richardson's failed test occurred after she won the women's 100-meter dash at the U.S. Olympic trials, it nullifies her first-place finish and disqualifies her from the event in Tokyo. USADA announced Friday that Richardson had accepted a 1-month suspension that began June 28th and expires July 28th before track and field events begin in Tokyo. USA Track and Field could therefore select her for a relay team, but its rules require it to enter the top 3 finishers at trials in the 100, and Richardson is no longer one of them. So here's the thing, right? First things first, man, shout out to Sha'Carri Richardson, because that sister has endured quite a bit. The fact that she was able to persevere and triumph after dealing with the death of her mom is something to be commended, man. Like, I don't know if I would have been able to hold up and perform in that way at that age and so soon after the passing of my mother. I remember what that was like. I was a little bit younger than Sha'Carri Richardson when my mother passed away. I was 17 years old. I was a fucking wreck, right? A fucking wreck. I couldn't really function a whole hell of a lot. So, I can empathize and I can sympathize with the fact that, like, Sha'Carri Richardson was dealing with a lot of shit, and she may have she's admitted to partaking of, weed while self-medicating and dealing with the grief that she had for losing her mom, right? I get that. But also, I can applaud Sha'Carri Richardson for not making an excuse for why she did what she did. That is why, like, I fucks with Sha'Carri Richardson the long way, because Sha'Carri Richardson has not been out here making excuses for herself. Sha'Carri Richardson said, like, pretty much, I did what I did. I understand that, like, this is the punishment that is going to be meted out. And, I'm young and I may have another opportunity to pursue this, right? And she may still be able to compete in the Olympics in the 4x400 meter relay. I think that's how you go, 4x100 meter relay, something like that. She may still be able to compete in that. But one of the things that I saw and one of the things that I thought was, like, kind of interesting that around this story that I was seeing on social media was how people were talking about this. And I saw a lot of excuses being made for Sha'Carri Richardson that Sha'Carri Richardson wasn't making for herself. And that was the disappointing part, right? So let me kind of expound on this just a little bit. So when Sha'Carri Richardson won the 100 meter dash at the Olympic trials, like that was what kind of catapulted her into, like, kind of superstardom as far as, here in the United States, especially on social media and everything else, right? And I remember how folks were kind of talking about Sha'Carri Richardson as it is on social media, you always gonna have some knucklehead niggas who was talking shit. You had folks who had something to say about her hair. You had folks who had something to say about her eyelashes and her nails. There were some comparisons being made to Jackie Joyner-Kersee. Was it Jackie Joyner-Kersee? I'm sorry, FloJo. My bad. to Florence Griffith Joyner, FloJo. Comparisons being made to her because of the nails, because of the flamboyance and everything. So there were comparisons being made to that. And because folks were coming at Sha'Carri Richardson because of her appearance, you had a lot of people who were standing up to like kind of be protective of Sha'Carri Richardson, right? Who didn't want any, like, yo, y'all not coming for her. This is a young sister. She's accomplished a lot. She's going through a lot. Y'all not coming for her, right? And while this is going on, you know, you got people who are, you know, not only just like kind of rooting for Sha'Carri Richardson, but you got people who were like kind of making an avatar of Sha'Carri Richardson and putting a lot of hopes and dreams into Sha'Carri Richardson. Like I've been seeing like the fan art and stuff like Sha'Carri Richardson as a superhero and all these other things. And it's like, you know, and this happened in a very short period of time, right? Like the Olympic trials weren't even a month ago. This has been happening in a very short period of time. And so one of the things that I kind of observed, I didn't say much during this time. Like I thought that what she did was dope and everything, and she was going to the Olympics, and I loved it. I loved that event during the Olympics. I was going to watch. But one of the things that one of the things that just kind of stuck out to me was like how swiftly and how powerful that movement kind of began and how that movement kind of grew to the point where like Sha'Carri Richardson's avatar had been elevated to an astronomical level. And therein lies the issue. Because we've elevated Sha'Carri Richardson to such a high standard, right? And because Sha'Carri Richardson kind of represents hopes and dreams for a lot of other people. And she became this thing that she represents more than just herself. Because people were putting so much into the image of Sha'Carri Richardson, if anything came up or happened to Sha'Carri Richardson, people were going to have to defend her, right? Even where she wasn't defending herself. And it always reminds me of, take for instance when Kevin Hart, right? I remember maybe it might have been a couple years ago, maybe something last year or so, when Kevin Hart was kind of going through his thing about the jokes he had been making about people of the LGBT community. I believe it was a joke about whether or not he thought if his son was gay or something like that, he would knock him over his head and hit him in his head or some shit like that and say that's gay and that became a whole thing, right? And Kevin Hart was the thing about Kevin Hart was that Kevin Hart was refusing to apologize for what he did. And, or better yet, he was refusing to apologize for what he did. And you had a whole bunch of people who were on Kevin Hart's side in that thing, right? Like, yo, you don't have to apologize, man. Fuck that, man. You ain't got to apologize to these people, man. They don't know what the fuck they talking about, man. Fuck these people, man. All this other shit, right? But then eventually an apology comes. And I'm when an apology comes, when that apology comes, those people who have been telling this celebrity that they've been elevating up to this point, when that celebrity acknowledges a fuck up and say, I apologize, I messed up here, and I want to make it right to the community that I've offended, or I want to make it right to the people that I've wronged, the people who have been telling them that they had never had to, they never needed to apologize in the first place, they mad at the celebrity, man, why you do that? You ain't have to apologize to those people. Why you do that? Because now it becomes a thing of, what are you defending? Right? You're no longer defending this athlete or this comedian or this star, this person that you've thrown all these hopes and dreams onto. You're no longer defending them. You're defending yourself in a sense, because you believe these things. So it's no longer about them, right? And so with Sha'Carri Richardson had a very human moment. She was dealing with the death of her mom. She was she's in many ways probably self-medicating. And she did this despite knowing that she could possibly be suspended for her marijuana use, right? Maybe she thought she could detox it out. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people who talk about their teas and, all sorts of detox things that they do in order to pass drug tests and everything else. Maybe she thought she could take that stuff and it'll clear her system out and she wouldn't, the test wouldn't come back positive. But when it came back positive, Sha'Carri Richardson wasn't one saying oh man, I didn't do this, man. This is a travesty. This is, this is fucked up. This and that. Sha'Carri Richardson's yo, I'm human. I am human. And that's why I fucks with Sha'Carri Richardson. But the thing is, folks haven't allowed for this young lady to be human. And not only that, like, the rules now are not supposed to apply to Sha'Carri Richardson because we like her. Right? This goes back to something like I was talking about with Bill Cosby. Because we like Sha'Carri Richardson, the rules that we know to have already been in place are not supposed to apply to her because we like her. We are rooting for her. We don't want anything bad to happen to her. We want this girl to win, right? So rules be damned. Now, I've seen folks kind of reach out and like, you know, they talking about like Michael Phelps, like, man, you know, Michael Phelps, you know, he was smoking weed, man. He had him in the bong and everything, man. This motherfucker was smoking hella weed, bro. And they ain't do this shit to Michael Phelps. And you could tell that they don't really know what the fuck they talking about. It's like some social media shit. It's real easy, man, like to kind of look this stuff up. Michael Phelps, there was a picture that floated around about Michael Phelps months after the Olympics had concluded. They gave Michael Phelps a 3-month suspension from competition after that photo had surfaced. He got a 3-month suspension. I think he might have lost his place on the Wheaties box or some shit, right? But he got a 3-month suspension. Sha'Carri Richardson was in the midst of competition when her test came back positive. Sha'Carri Richardson completed a drug treatment program, or like a drug counseling program already. She's already completed it, which has resulted in her getting a 1-month suspension as opposed to probably a 3-month suspension or whatever else. The thing is, I think a lot of people were like, yo, man, she's not going to be able to compete in the 100-meter dash, and that's what we really wanted to see her in. She still has an opportunity to compete in these Olympics. May not be in that signature event, but she still has an opportunity to compete. And hopefully they give her that opportunity to compete. But I don't want it becomes hard for me to like watch people like kind of grasp at straws and make points that don't really fit, based upon the fact that we like this person. We like this person. And it becomes like a question of like integrity almost. You know? At least like in my eyes, I'm kind of looking at folks and I'm just like, nah, man, this ain't it. This ain't it. And I'm sure sometimes folks will look at me and be like, nah, Spann, this ain't it. This ain't it. I'm sure it goes both ways. But as I watch people make excuses for this young lady who was not making excuses for herself, it did sadden me a bit. It did, man. I'm like, yo, man, we don't have to do this for her. A friend of mine on Facebook was talking about, like, you know, Michael Phelps was probably paying people to like pee for him, and you know he had money and influence and all these other things, and he was probably smoking all the weed and it just never came back positive because other people was taking his test for him. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like, yo, sister, like, do you know that, or is this something that you want to believe because you want so badly for Sha'Carri Richardson to win? We don't know that. Like, now we're creating issues. We're creating scenarios. We're creating stories that don't even fit. We aren't even sure of them. We're making this shit up as we go along because we want so badly for this young lady to win. We're making excuses for this young lady despite the fact that she's not doing it for herself. And like I said, I fucks with Sha'Carri Richardson the long way because she's not out here making these level of excuses. She's like, yo, man, it happened. I'm human. I fucked up. This opportunity that was like presented to me, like, I fucked up this opportunity. Nobody to blame but myself. That's why I'm fucking with Sha'Carri Richardson. You know? So yeah, man, it's unfortunate that she's not going to be able to compete in that 100-meter dash, man. It's unfortunate, but she still has an opportunity. And you know, to watch folks just all of a sudden just be like, man, rules be damned. It's just wild to me, man. It's just wild to me. So yeah, man, that's in Blue Blazes, man. That was one of the things that I've been seeing all over social media over the course of the day. Another story that we got here in Blue Blazes is yo, man, y'all little homie Bow Wow. Bow Wow says that he don't want to rap no more because the shit brings stress, y'all. Yeah, Bow Wow. Shit brings stress. We get the story here. It seems we get this out of Complex. It says it seems Bow Wow has had enough. The rapper took to Instagram on Tuesday to share that he's done with his rap career, citing the fact that it brings stress. Y'all niggas see why I don't be wanting to rap no motherfucking more, he said in the video. This is exactly why I'm at peace. I'm at peace, man. I like hosting my shit, making more money than half of y'all rap niggas. I like doing my podcast. This nigga got a podcast? Man, dig that. This shit right here is the number one reason why a nigga don't want to rap no more. This is the reason why I do movies and I do much other shit, is because rap shit brings stress. The video was apparently taken on Saturday, right when his hard drive crashed 6 minutes before the Versus show. I was so stressed putting this show together in 4 days for Versus, he captioned the clip. What y'all don't know is our hard drive crashed 6 minutes before we went live. See? Even though Bow experienced technical difficulties, no one else was the wiser and the show was perfectly executed. There also seems to be some division regarding who won the battle, with some posting Bow Wow as the victor and the other Soulja Boy. Regardless, both rappers put on quite the show that night, tapping the surprise guests like DJ Paul, Amarion, Jermaine Dupri, DeBrat, the Franchise Boys, French Montana, and Romeo. So I'm going to just say this here right now. Ain't this nigga been trying to like retire for the better part of the last 10 years? I mean, really, like, how many of y'all been out here really, really, really looking for that next Bow Wow project? Y'all been out here checking for Bow Wow like that on some rap shit. Now I know Bow Wow ain't my demographic. I don't know if my demographic even listens to this show, right? Or if his demographic even listens to the show. But like, really, has anybody really been clamoring for the next Bow Wow album? I remember like he's on that show. Was that Loving Hip Hop Atlanta? Not Loving Hip Hop Atlanta. Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta. One of them hip hop love shows or whatever the fuck, right? He's on that show. And I remember that like one of the storylines to that show was he was going to make a rap album about all of the women that he'd been with. He was going to name names and shit. I don't even know if that project ever came out. It probably did. But I remember that being a thing. Like, so he's talking about rap being stressful. Like, dude, you talking about talking shit about every woman you've ever been with, like, and putting it on wax. Like, yeah, maybe. Right? Doesn't seem like that's the smartest thing in the motherfucking world to do, but that's what you wanted to do. You know? And then, like, you know, not like verses. This is stressful. Like, nigga, you didn't have to do the verses. Like I don't know who is clamoring for Bow Wow to do the verses. I'm sure somebody like watched it. And I saw people like, you know, on my social media, you know, they were like, oh man, this is more entertaining than I thought it would be, this, that, and the other. But I haven't seen the verses. Like, real talk. Them shits come on early for me. I'd be like, man, like, verses on already? Kind of like the BET Awards. I didn't know the BET Awards was even on. Like, nigga, the BET Awards on right now for real? Damn. Just come on early, you know? So yeah, man, Bow Wow told y'all he don't want to rap no more. It's stressful. And the world was, I guess the world was like, oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, man, that's in Blue Blazers. Another story that we got here in Blue Blazers is, Meghan McCain has decided that she's going to leave The View after 4 years on the show and 2 years left on her contract. And I'm sure everybody was like, yeah, man. So, listen, outside of stealing the hairstyles of black women and constantly reminding us that John McCain was her father, what was Meghan McCain's contribution to The View other than that? And also having some really serious, cantankerous fucking like outburst, you know, constantly getting into it with her co-host, constantly having like Meghan McCain would get on there and she would present herself as like this, like the lone conservative voice on national television, which she's not, but she would present herself in that way, and which like to make herself an authority on the conservative point of view. And here's the thing. So she talks about like her being the only one in network television with the conservative point of view. She represents half the country. And my thing is this, and it always has been, is that the conservative point of view doesn't represent half of this nation. We see it in the voting tallies every time, like, you know, a national election comes up. When it comes to Republicans or conservatives winning national office, a lot of times it's on the backs of, like, they win in very small states. And if they do win the presidency, it's because of the electoral college mechanism, Not so much because of the popular vote. I think the last person to win the popular vote in the presidential election was George W. Bush in 2004. Yeah. And that was like the first, like in quite a while, probably since like Ronald Reagan in like 1984. So it's been a while. Like, they won the popular vote twice in the last like damn near 40 years, right? So Meghan McCain has been getting into it with her co-host. There was a big blow up between her and Whoopi Goldberg. Over the course of the last couple of weeks. She's gotten into it plenty of times with Joy Behar. But we get the story here. This comes out of CNN. This is Meghan McCain, the conservative personality and co-host of ABC's The View, who clashed with her colleagues on and off set, announced Thursday she is leaving the show. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off, McCain said at the top of the show. I'm here to tell you all, my wonderful cohorts and viewers at home, this is going to be my last season here at The View. McCain said it was not an easy decision, that she will be with The View until the current season ends at the end of the month. On a professional note, the show has been hands down the greatest, most exhilarating, most wonderful privileges of my entire life. McCain indicated that her decision was motivated by her desire to remain in Washington, D.C. Area near her family after giving birth to her daughter in late 2020. McCain had previously mulled leaving the daytime talk show. CNN reported in the summer of 2019 that McCain, feeling dejected and sabotaged by her colleagues at ABC, was seriously thinking about departing the show. That was according to two people familiar with the matter at the time. One of the people who was a friend of McCain's told CNN that McCain didn't think it was worth it anymore. A senior ABC employee who also spoke to CNN at the time said McCain was miserable at the network. So here's the thing. Here's the brass tacks though. Meghan McCain, the reason why Meghan McCain was good for The View is because Meghan McCain got a lot of people to hate watch The View. Right? Hate watching is a thing. People watch things or listen to things of the people they don't like for a few different reasons. One, to have an argument against what the fuck they said. Two, because they really just like, they want to see somebody else take them down. And three, it feels some sort of warped fucking void. It feels some sort of warped void in people. And you always know, like, when, like, the people who don't really fuck with some shit are the most vocal, right? Like, you got people who, like, will listen to a show, or who will, like, the people who really like a show or a podcast or a television show or movie, like, they like it and they just keep it moving. They don't say anything. They don't leave a review. They don't leave a comment. Like, sometimes they just, like, hey, man, I'm enjoying the show, and that's it. Like, you get the download, nigga, you get the view, but like outside of that, I'm just enjoying the show. It's cool like that, right? But the people who don't fuck with something are the most vocal people, right? And so what Meghan McCain did was she brought eyeballs of the most vocal people who did not like her. And she would say some really fucking controversial things, and because people didn't like her, it drove up like social media impressions. It drove up comments on the YouTube channel. It drove up people were just watching just to see what the train wreck was going to be as far as like a clash between the co-host and everything. So the fact that she's leaving may not necessarily be a good thing for the show ratings wise or social media wise. They may end up finding themselves trying to find someone else who's a controversial, conservative. I know that they usually like have what's that lady's name, Anna Navarro, but she's become somewhat of a favorite among like liberals who like she's like the liberals' favorite conservative right now, like Anna Navarro. So like I don't know if she's gonna be like a permanent co-host of that show, but that was why Meghan McCain was so effective for that show, is that she brought eyeballs to that show of the people who did not like her, right? And there's something to be said about watching a show when you don't like someone and they animate you to the point that you feel like you have to engage with that show, that you have to leave comments on the YouTube channel, that you have to say shit about the show on Twitter and everything else. So that's why Meghan McCain was good for The View. That's exactly why. And they're going to probably suffer because Meghan McCain left. But yo, man, that has been Blue Blazes.
What in blue blazes is going on out here?
This nigga just say blue blazes.
Also, man, real talk. You know what? Never mind. Never mind. We're going to y'all know. We're going to Proud to Be an American, man.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
That's enough of that shit. It's Proud to Be an American time here at the Spann Report podcast, man. And our first story here in Proud to Be an American has to do with one Kamala Harris. So yeah, man, Kamala Harris has been in the news a lot as of late. one of the reasons why we're talking about her tonight, though, has to do with the fact that there was a picture floating around social media of her at a table filled with white women, right? Filled with the white women's. And the picture was being presented as though Kamala Harris was hosting a dinner. It was filled with white women, and they were being served by African, pretty much predominantly black staff during a Juneteenth celebration. Well, fact check. That picture was of a senatorial dinner. It was all senators in the United States Congress that was at this dinner. It was not a celebration of Juneteenth. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, we're going to read the story here. This comes out of USA Today. It says, after President Joe Biden made Juneteenth a federal holiday on June 17th, celebrities like Usher and Lupita Nyong'o celebrated, but some social media users say the nation's first black vice president didn't do much to mark the occasion. A June 20th Facebook post includes 4 photos that show Vice President Kamala Harris and several white women sharing a meal. One image shows Harris standing with a raised glass, while 2 others zoom in on people of color who aren't at the table. Happy Juneteenth, y'all, says the caption on the post, which has more than 1,300 shares, many of whom are people I know shared that shit. It says Juneteenth commemorates the end of slavery in the United States, and more specifically, the arrival of Union troops in Texas after the Civil War. They brought news of emancipation 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. Several other versions of the Facebook post have also circulated widely on social media, but the images show Harris at a bipartisan dinner for female senators 4 days before Juneteenth. So, when I first saw this picture, right? When I first saw it, off top, I'm sorry. But when I first saw this picture, off top, I recognized that many of those women in that photo were either senators or former senators in the United States Senate, right? Women senators. It's not a whole lot of them. It's even fewer black women senators in the United States Congress. As a matter of fact, Kamala Harris, at the time when she was a United States senator from California, she was the only black woman senator in the United States Congress. Right? She's now the vice president of the United States. So when I saw that picture being shared by people I know, first thing I said to them was like, yo, man, those are all senators there. Kamala Harris used to be a senator. She's no longer a senator. She's the vice president of the United States, and she presides over the Senate. It seems like a Senate thing. And you had some people who were just like, man, Spann, but you've been in Kamala's like pocket though, bro. Like you a Kamala fan, this and the other. But like, yeah, but I'm just talking factual here. That's exactly what the fuck that is. And like, it becomes this thing where like you start getting disappointed in how easily folks continue to fall for this shit. Easily fall for this shit, and it all bringing it all back. When we like someone, but it's all based upon when we like and when we don't like somebody. You got people who don't like Kamala Harris and who still believe a lot of the misinformation about Kamala Harris locking up black people for weed and all this other shit, and you know, like that whole thing that was kind of made up about her while she was running for president at the time. Right? You got a lot of people who still believe in that rhetoric. You got a lot of people who still are holding on to that and don't like that woman because of it. So when they see this picture and someone on Facebook saying happy Juneteenth, y'all, and framing this in a way where it looks as though she's celebrating Juneteenth and having black people serving a room full of white folks, right? They're like, see, I told you. They don't give a damn about the facts of the matter. And like social media like just kind of makes it to where like, you know, facts be damned, the lies going out the gate before the motherfucking facts is putting his pants on. That's just what it is. But the fact that like so many folks who I know was sharing this was like, I'm like, come on, y'all. We got to do better than this. We can't keep falling for the same shit. We can't keep falling for the banana in the tailpipe, man. Like it's so easy now. For like, and this is why like that whole like January 6th shit is so scary, like because now Americans are just primed. We're so fucking primed because of how we've been conditioned by social media to have this, we've curated our timelines for only the shit that we agree with. We don't talk to the people we don't agree with. We can like just dismiss motherfuckers offhand and everything else, man. Like, we are tied to our point of view and nothing else will like penetrate that bubble. Facts be damned. And that's why, like, it's so scary. Like, this is a scary time right now where, like, something as small as this can, like, be passed around as, like, factual information and people believe it. In much the same way, like, you got a whole bunch of people on the right who believe that Donald Trump was, like, had his presidency stolen from him and this election was a sham and all this other shit, so much so that they went to the Capitol and attacked that motherfucker, man. It's a scary time. Scary time. But that picture wasn't what it was purported to be. And it was just weird, like, kind of watching folks kind of share that on social media as if like, yo, man, I told y'all. It's like, nah, this ain't what y'all think it is. And you could tell the people who are really paying attention to this shit and the people who aren't. You just can tell. So, yeah, man, that's Proud to be an American. Another story that we got here in Proud to be an American is that, the conservatives are fighting amongst each other. When I say conservatives, I'm talking about the black conservatives. Yeah, man, they fighting. And they all fighting, it seems to me like they all fighting Candace Owens, man. Candace Owens can't, like, everybody mad at Candace Owens. She had Azalea Banks on her neck last week. We talked about that last week. She's got Kimberly Klacik on her ass this week. Now, for those of you who don't remember who Kimberly Klacik is, she was the one who was running for, I believe it was Elijah Cummings' seat in Baltimore. I believe that was what it was. She was a Republican, black Republican. She did that video of her walking through, Baltimore streets, talking about how dilapidated the buildings were and how fucked up Democrats had, running the city down in Baltimore, this, that, and the other. The typical fucking rhetoric that you get from a Republican. Well, Kimberly Klacik is battling stripper claims because she came at Candace Owens. She came at Candace Owens about the shit that Candace Owens said about Juneteenth. And Candace Owens threw out the fact that, like, yo, didn't you used to shake that ass? Yeah, man. Essentially, just like,
Oh, yeah. What happened to your sheriff? There is powerful niggardry at work here.
Yeah, man. So we read the story here. This comes out of Newsweek. It says former GOP congressional candidate Kimberly Klacik has responded to claims from Candace Owens that she used to work as a stripper and hired a Democratic operative for her election campaign as a social media feud between the conservative commentators escalated last week. A feud between the two commentators began on June 18th. Oh, damn, my birthday. After Owens said that the President Joe Biden making Juneteenth a federal holiday was the Democrats trying to repackage segregation. In a later tweet following the backlash, Owens wrote, "Sometimes I wonder if ever Black America will wake up to the psychological warfare of perpetual brainwash to believe everything is racist." Klacik, a former Republican nominee for Maryland's 7th Congressional District, replied that the post is now in a post that is now deleted tweet in a now deleted tweet writing, "Believe it or not, many in Black America are very aware the fight is classism rather than racism. Unfortunately, the loudest mouths with the largest platforms represent the majority. This might come to shock you because of your lack of engagement with Black people." Now, hold on now. Now, I've been meaning to talk about this. There's a contingent of Black conservatives, right, who feel as though Candace Owens sucks up all the oxygen out of the room. That Candace Owens is the end-all, be-all when it comes to Black conservative voices in public spaces, especially when it comes to mass media. So when they want to, like, when like Fox News or when like OAN or Newsmax are looking for a Black conservative to speak on an issue, they go out and they go get Candace Owens. And a lot of these Black conservatives are feeling like, hey, man, what about me? What about me? And so it's weird, right? Because like I said last week, I believe that Candace Owens is like kind of a mixture of like a GOP Black chick. Because I remember she was like the hot thing a few years ago. I don't know what the hell happened to her, but she kind of disappeared, fell off the map. Crystal Wright and Ann Coulter. Right? She's kind of a mix between the two of them. Ann Coulter because she throws bombs, and GOP Black chick because she's staunchly conservative and she's Black and that's her brand, right? And she talks down to Black people. And there's a lot of Black conservatives who are just like, They just like, yo, man, like your audience isn't the black people. You talking to the white folks. You don't really fuck with black folks. And that's why we can't get more inroads within the black community, because every time that, like, you know, conservatives look for a black voice, they go into you and you always shitting on black folks. Now, whether or not that's, you know, a legitimate argument is something that can be debated, because I honestly kind of feel like a lot of the black people who are conservatives are also speaking ill of the black community too. They're just mad about the fact that they aren't getting the same checks that maybe Candace Owens is getting. Imagine me sitting here on this show defending Candace Owens against anything, right? Crazy, isn't it? Man, who the fuck had that on their bingo card? I mean, outside of Bill Cosby getting out of jail and fucking Sha'Carri Richardson, like, man, who had this shit on? It's been a wild motherfucking week. A wild week. But we continue to read, though. It says, Klacik, a former Republican, I already that part already. The arguments reignited on Sunday, June 20th, when Owens and Klacik criticized each other in several posts on Instagram, culminated in the former claiming to have incredible information about the political activists that will blow your minds. Owens, a prominent activist who hosts a show called Candace on the conservative news website The Daily Wire, then released a 45-minute video on Wednesday about Klacik, where she made several allegations about her background. She said that Klacik used to work as a stripper in Baltimore, Maryland, and accused her of hiring a Democratic Party operative to work on her congressional campaign in 2020. Woo! Said Owens also said that she spoke to a stripper who used to work with Klacik at a club in Baltimore and claimed that the woman told her that the former congressional candidate took cocaine in the building and that she paid for it using campaign funds. Well,
I'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
Nigga, what? I mean, this is what the conservatives is into? Like, I remember dog, think about this for a minute, man. Think about this for a second. Remember when, like, conservatives was really, like they would frown their noses up at, like, strippers and drug use and shit, and now we got, like, strippers and, like, drug users and shit running for Congress as Republicans? Like, Jesus. Like, man, how times have changed. How times have changed. Says Owens said that she's, I'm sorry, I read that part. Says Klacik responded to the claims in a 30-minute video on the Armstrong-Williams show on Friday, which she later wrote would be the last time she addressed Owens' claims. If Owens was the detective that she pretends to be, she would know that all of the clubs in Baltimore City were shut down due to the pandemic in Baltimore. Wait. Okay. Klacik said about allegations of taking cocaine using campaign funds in 2020. So there's no possible way anybody was partying in a club or able to launder money into a club that was completely closed. She then confirmed that she used to work as a stripper in Baltimore, but said that she's not ashamed of her past employment, and added that she feels bad for all those women that currently have had that occupation that probably feel attacked right now due to Owens' comments. So let us get these facts right. Apparently, she was stripping, and Owens had that shit right. She might not have had the drug use shit right, but she had the stripper shit right? Okay, cool. Beat it. I ain't even mad. They like, shout out to my strippers. You know what I'm saying? Y'all perform a public service. Y'all perform a public good. Y'all getting y'all bread. Y'all ain't hurt nobody. Shout out to y'all, right? But this lady, right? This lady is a politician running for office who would pretty much put a shutdown to all of this shit. So while she's talking about how she feels about these women being attacked and all these other shit, she's not ashamed of it. She's in a party that would shut a lot of the things that y'all do down. Make it make sense, fam. Make it make sense. Just,
oh, yeah. There is powerful niggardry at work here.
Yeah, man. It's like the Republican Party. The Republican Party is like, they do a lot of bad ideas just for the sake of doing bad ideas. It kind of reminds me of Junior from what was that? Problem Child. Y'all remember Junior from Problem Child? He's just like kind of getting the shit. And I think Republicans by and large, and black Republicans in particular, they present a lot of like bad ideas for the sake of doing it. And in fact, it's more so like,
what do we do now? Let's tell ghost stories. Let's use marshmallows. Let's light a forest fire. Don't you know it's bad to light forest fires? That's the whole point.
It's bad to light forest fires, and that's the whole point. They do shit because it's bad, right? So, yeah, man, Candace Owens. Despite the fact that we don't fuck with Candace Owens, despite the fact that like Candace Owens can eat dirt for the rest of her life as far as I'm concerned, like she didn't lie on this one. She didn't lie, man. She had Kimberly Klacik dead to rights on some shit. Unfortunately, both of them are more so. Yeah, man. So, yeah, that's been Proud to be an American.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
All right, it's enough of that shit, but y'all know what time it is.
The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here!
All right. It's Champ of the Week time here at the Spann Report podcast, man. And our champ of the week this week here at the Spann Report is none other than influencer and actress Tabitha Brown. Now, the reason that Tabitha Brown is the champ of the week this week here at the Spann Report podcast has to do with the fact that Tabitha Brown, not only like being like a really, really motherfucking pleasant human being, man. Like, I get the vibe from Tabitha Brown, like, she gives the best hugs and shit. Like, she get the best auntie hugs, man. Like, and then she gonna speak life into you. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tabitha Brown gives off that vibe, man. Like, she's like real fucking loving and shit. Like, how could you hate Tabitha Brown? Like, how could anybody hate this lady, right? She got a beautiful smile. She's got a beautiful aura about herself, man. Like, she's loving and warm and all this good shit, man. Like, Tabitha Brown is dope. I mean, I don't fuck with the vegan shit, but, like, Tabitha Brown is dope, right? So, Tabitha Brown has recently come out and said that, like, yo, she's, you know, her opportunities have kind of expanded. Like, she's become successful in not only the influencer space, but in, like, you know, her acting dreams are becoming are coming true. She's getting opportunities in the acting space. She's been featured on this season of The Chi. She's got that opportunity. And so, like, she told her and her husband had an agreement that, like, yo, when she got to her dreams, that she would retire this dude from his job as a police officer. And now it's time when she did that. Kudos to that sister, right? Well, apparently Wendy Williams wasn't really feeling it, had some things to say about the fact that Tabitha Brown was retiring her husband, kind of projected her own little situation with her husband, Kevin Hunter, for like having a side chick and taking her money and investing it in shit that he lost money and everything else. And like just pretty much throwing salt on that whole thing, that whole idea of what Tabitha Brown was doing. Now, mind you, like I said, Tabitha Brown seems like a pretty dope human being. Don't fuck with nobody, man. I ain't never heard nobody have anything bad to say about Tabitha Brown, man. Like, she gives off the vibe that, like, she's a real warm, dope human being. Real religious and all that stuff, man. Well, Tabitha Brown had something to say about it. And Tabitha Brown, what she really did was, she told Wendy Williams to kiss all her ass in every way motherfucking possible in the name of Jesus. That's what she did, man. That's what she did. And so, we gonna play what Tabitha Brown had to say to Wendy Williams. And this is why Tabitha Brown is the champ of the week. Because I don't know if I could ever read a motherfucker like this, man. I don't know if I'd have the patience and the love for a motherfucker to read them in the way that Tabitha Brown just did Wendy Williams. So we're going to go ahead and get this lady her flowers right now. She's the champ of the week. And we're going to go ahead and listen to Tabitha Brown. Go ahead and do her thing. So check this out, y'all.
Very good, honey. I was up doing a little work here. That's why I got my pajamas on in my office. And then my phone started going off, like praising people. It's like, girl, you're Wendy Williams. First of all, Wendy Williams, honey, God bless you. God bless you. Okay. And so people sent me a little clip and I said, oh my God, the pain this woman must be in. Wendy, the pain you must be in to feel this way. And I'm so sorry. But listen, let me tell you this. 23 years I've been with my husband. Yes. Broke for a very long time together. Struggled for a very long time together. Succeeded for the last couple of years together, right? My husband took a job in agreement with me. He took a job 15 years ago to help support my dream. And I know you may not know what that looks like in a genuine place, right? But this was an agreement that my husband and I had. And I told him 15 years ago, oh, babe, in 5 years, I'll be able to take you out of there so then you can pursue one of your dreams that you love. Right now, I was his dog in the fight, okay? And he believed in me. And we did it together for the last 15 years. I did every year with him at LAPD, and he did every year with me with rejection and no's in this entertainment industry, right? However, God has blessed me. He has allowed me to manifest. I've been praying on this for a very long time, and it has now come to pass. That is the power of God. It's also the power of allowing God to be first in your marriage, okay? And that is how it remains successful. We keep him first. He is first in our marriage. Not money, not business, not success, but God. He's first, okay? So this is my prayer for you. I pray that love finds you, true love. I pray it finds you and it holds you tight. I pray that someone will love you enough to see you when you are not well, to see you when you need true support, to see you when you need compassion, to see you when you need kindness. I pray that somebody loves you enough to sacrifice their life for you. I pray that type of love finds you so that you can understand why. I don't want my husband to put his life on the line anymore wearing a bulletproof vest if he don't have to, and if that's not his desire. I love him enough that I want him to be safe, and I want him to coach children the way he wants to. My husband has a nonprofit, right? And he wants to be able to build that even more so. And what I do know is a 9-to-5 or a steady job takes away time for creativity.
Yes,
takes
it
away
do.
time that you want to pour into your real, true purpose.
It sure as hell does.
And if God blesses someone to be able to pull out of that 9-to-5 and pour everything into their purpose, their passion, ooh, my goodness, why would we dishonor God if he blesses us with the ability and the way to be able to do so?
Amen.
Ooh, honey, I'm excited about
Amen.
that. Ooh, I pray that somebody finds you, love finds you, that excites you the way I am excited about my husband.
Wow.
Being able to grow his business, being able to pour into children, continue to coach these kids, do other things he's dreamt about. Ooh, honey, I pray this type of excitement and love finds you and anybody else who seems to not understand this. I pray that type of love finds you. Sacrifice, compassion, like I really do. I really, really do. Okay? With that being said, I thank all of y'all for messaging me and telling me about it. And I want you, whoever is watching, who understands the type of love, let us all pray for people like Miss Wendy and others who have either been so hurt or never found a genuine love that fills their heart with so much compassion and joy. Let us all pray that they find that and that it finds them. Yes, very good. Now, I want y'all to go on about your business, okay? And have the most amazing
Go on about
day.
your business.
But even if you can't have a good one, don't y'all dare go messing up nobody else's here. God bless you. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, y'all.
Man, listen. Go on about your business. Go on about your business, man. I fucks with her, man. Like, she cool as hell. She cool as hell, man. How could people be mad at this lady, man? How can anybody be mad at that lady for nothing? Jesus Christ, man. Jesus. I feel like I need to go to church now. Ain't that some shit? All right, y'all. She's the champ of the week this week, man. Shout out to Tabitha Brown, man. Like that was the smoothest way to like cuss somebody out without using any damn obscenities, man. Real talk. But yo, man, like I said, I didn't really plan on doing this show, man. I'm surprised I've been going on for an hour and a half, having not planned to do much of any of this. But it is what it is. Y'all got a show this week. But before we get on up out of here, of course, I do need to remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Spann Report podcast and let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit up that hotline at area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages, and of course, those voicemails will be played here live on the show and responded to in kind. You can also email us here at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback at thespanreport.com. Go ahead and leave those emails, and of course those emails will get right here and reply to here live on the show as well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So you can go ahead and follow me there, chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and or Stitcher Radio. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live in the show. We really appreciate everybody who does that. It doesn't cost you a dime, man. Just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network. Also, go to our website at www.thespannreport.com. You can go there, watch replays of the show. You can vote in the polls when we decide to put those polls up. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like, and we appreciate anybody who goes about the business of doing that. Also, hit up our store. You can go ahead and cop yourself some merch. Get yourself a t-shirt. Get yourself a tank top. Get yourself a coffee mug or a sports bottle because it's hot outside. You want to drink and get your workout on and shit. And support us in that way, man. It really doesn't cost a whole hell of a lot. And, it helps us keep this ball rolling, man. Keep the bills paid around here at the Spann the Bold and the Spann Report Podcast Network, man. So it helps us do that. And you get yourself some real cool swag in the meantime. But, man, it's time for us to get on up out of here. I will talk to you guys real soon. But until next time, fam, peace.